Wearing a suit can do wonders for a guy. When done correctly, it can open loads of opportunity, wins you a tons of amount of respect and authority, and obviously women love it. However, just because it is prom season and this is around the time where we're, going through graduations and a lot of formal parties, I have seen a lot of guys completely killing it when they're wearing a suit, and not in a good way. So today I'm going to be pointing out those mistakes and some good alternatives to help you look your very best while wearing a suit, coming up. Welcome to HB Fashion, where we give you tips and advice from his fashion, grooming, and lifestyle. I'm your host, Zach Fobbs, and today we're going over 10 mistakes that most guys make when wearing a suit, starting with number 1, it is not paying attention to the fit. I've said this once and I'll say it again until you guys get it. Fit is king, no matter what outfit you're wearing, especially when it comes to wearing a suit. If you wear a suit that's too tight on you, you're gonna look like you're very constricted, uncomfortable, and you're gonna look like a sausage, and any sort of slight movement can potentially ruin the suit by tearing it. Or alternatively, if you want to look like you're wearing a big giant box on you, clothes to fit a giant, or you just look like a complete slob, then yeah, go ahead and rock that suit that's too big on you, which obviously we don't want any of those two options. The best thing that you can do for yourself when wearing a suit to nail the fit is to go get it tailored. This is to get that suit to fit perfectly on you and you specifically, and honestly is one of the things that you can do to look your very best. And if you don't really have the time, you don't really have the money to go get the suit altered, then take your time when you're trying on the suit at the store and make sure you find the best fitting one and you rock it with confidence. Number 2, not removing the stitching when you first buy the suit. What I mean by the stitching is not the actual stitching that's holding the suit together, because you're going to permanently damage the suit if you do that. What I'm talking about is the stitching that is meant to be there when it's on, still on the rack, when it's still, being presented to the general public, just to make sure that the retail stores make sure it's still looking nice. You typically will find the stitching in the shoulder pads or in the back, where the flaps are, and you just want to take some scissors to it. It takes not even a minute to do. Just search all around the suit. If you find any, white stitching or any, noticeable stitching that's not supposed to be there, just go ahead and take some scissors, snip it off, and just remove it. These things are just there just to keep the silhouette of the suit while it's still on the hanger, but when you first get them, remove them. Number 3, not removing any tags or logos that are still on the suit. I've seen this a lot, especially during this prom season. You have a lot of guys who are just, still having the name brand on the wrist of their suit, and it's still there, still super noticeable, and they think it's still supposed to be there because they think that's part of the suit. Guys, no, it's just like the stitching. And number 2, it's easily, removable. Remove it. You're not going to impress anyone, with it. That shows how inexperienced you are when wearing a suit, and obviously, in my humble opinion, brings down the value of the suit. Number 4, wearing casual shoes with the suit. I've seen this a lot when it comes to guys that don't typically wear suits, but they decide that, the 1 or 2 times throughout the year they'll actually wear a suit, but they'll wear some tennis shoes with it that are very old looking. They look like they've definitely been running in them a lot and they haven't been replaced in a few years, and this just makes me cringe to my core. You're not supposed to wear casual shoes with this suit at all. Now, I will say there is an alternative to it, but it's at a very, very, very small exception. If you're wearing just, a plain basic canvas sneak with it, I'm talking about like this one here, just all white, all black, all gray, just to basically keep that simplicity in there, I think you'll be good as far as the casual look will go. But if you're wearing a suit, of course, you want to have some formality with your shoes, and obviously it's going to be some leather shoes, even some shoes that are a little bit outside the box, like some double monk straps, some Chelsea boots, chucka boots, whatever. Just make sure that the formality matches, or if not, it is close to the simplicity of the suit. The 5th mistake that most guys make is wearing too many accessories with the suit. This is probably the tip I'm gonna get a lot of backlash for, but in my humble opinion, less is more when it comes to wearing a suit. You don't need to wear a million rings, a million bracelets, a scarf, a little chain going across your collar, just, the typical stuff that you would see all over Instagram. And in my humble opinion, this is doing too much. This is too much to look at and try to pay attention to when I see someone someone in public or, you know, at a certain occasion and they're dressed like this. I'm just trying to think about too much about what they got going on. Less is more, gentlemen. My perfect recommendation for you guys is to, of course, wear a watch. Just with any suit that you wear, have a tie bar, a pocket square, and a tie. You'll be good to go for any occasion. If you feel like you need to throw on, you know, a ring or two, you know, a bracelet or two, then yes, go ahead if that's your personal style. However, do not overdo it. Number 6, matching your tie and your pocket square. This is something that I don't agree with. It's too matchy and it's a little old fashioned to do, you know? You don't, you know, want to have, you know, just a box set, you know, with the same color and pattern, you know, when it comes to your tie and your pocket square. Instead, what you want to do is have, you know, some coordination going on. What this means is that you're still keeping in, you know, the color scheme of the entire outfit. However, you're going with a different pattern and a different look when it comes to your tie and your pocket square. This is one of those subtle things that you can do to help yourself, you know, pay attention to details and still look very great. Number 7, a lot of guys get the sizing of their tie wrong. Now, when it comes to the width of it, this can be subjective, you know, because we have a lot of guys that come in, you know, all sorts of, you know, shapes and sizes. We have a really big guy who's really big and tall, and you have a really, you know, small guy who is very skinny. He's kind of has a little bit of a shortness to him. And of course, if you're like a big and tall sort of guy, you want to get a tie that has a little bit more width to it. And alternatively, if you're a smaller guy, get something that has a little bit of you know, narrow path to it, but not too narrow because that's a little too much, you know. And when it comes to the length of your tie, this is for any guy. In any case, if you want to nail that perfect length, you want to make sure that it is falling right at your waistline. If you guys want me to make a video where I show you how to actually nail that length, let me know in the comment section below and I will make that video in the near future. And a little bonus before we move on to number 8, don't fall underneath that trap that a lot of online companies try to use and sell you a tie that's not really a tie and it just looks utterly ridiculous. It looks like a child's toy. You know what type of ties I'm talking about. You see it all over Instagram. Don't do it. Number 8, thinking that you absolutely have to wear a tie when it comes to wearing a suit, blazer, or sports jacket, which is absolutely not the case, guys. I'm wearing a tie just because I like the simplicity that I'm going for here, and I love this tie so much, and I like the classy look that I'm going for, so I'm just gonna rock with it for the rest of this video. However, if you just don't typically like to wear ties, you can always not wear one. My recommendation is to not do the 16-year-old look and just have, you know, all of your buttons buttoned right here and just have nothing there. That looks a little too childish for me. And honestly, if you want to just try to button 1 or 2 buttons, that looks perfectly fine. Or if you want to go a little bit alternative, wear like a really nice t-shirt with it. Just make sure that, you know, your rest of your outfit is matching that casual look, like how I talked about with the shoes. Or if you just want to wear something else like a turtleneck, anything that keeps up with that formality, as long as you're not wearing a tie, go for it. Number 9, going too flashy or too trendy when it comes to buying your suit. This is one of the things that you see a lot, especially during the prom season. You'll see guys buying, you know, these blazers that are, you know, made of suede, have some silk, weird fluorescent patterns, and, you know, have some glitter thrown onto it. Just is all over the place. And in my opinion, this is something that's very, again, childish to do, and it really doesn't show that you really know what you're doing when it comes to buying a suit. And honestly, the best fix for that is to go for some simplicity. Buy the basics first. Buy some charcoal gray, black if you have to, some navy blue. Then you can explore with different other colors that, again, keep up with that simplicity. Just because if you buy anything that's too flashy or too trendy, you're only gonna wear it once and spend a lot of money on something that you're not gonna get that much use out of. And the last mistake a lot of guys make when it comes to wearing a suit is thinking that they don't need one in their closet, which is completely false. You never know when the occasion might call for it. You know, you have a wedding, a really important job interview, a really formal party to go to, and you might need to dress it up a bit and honestly rock something that's gonna show off some respect and authority coming from you. And honestly, the guys that tell you, you know, you don't need a suit, you know, you're so young, why would you ever need to wear a suit? These are the guys that are comfortable for the rest of their lives wearing nothing but old t-shirts, baggy jeans, you know, dusty looking cowboy boots, you know, trucker hats, and some weird looking sports glasses, even though I don't think they're in any sort of extreme sports at all. But regardless, these are guys that you should not listen to, and you should honestly, and every single guy who is underneath the sound of my voice and watching this video should have a suit in their closet on standby at the very least, just because you never know when the occasion might call for it. Actually, now that I think about it, I do have a bonus tip for you guys, and this is a mistake that I see a lot of guys make. When I see it, it bugs me to my soul. But when guys button the bottom button on a suit, that button is just there to, you know, be there, leave it alone. When you button this button, it ruins the total silhouette of that suit. It makes you look like, you know, you're stuck in the 60s or the 70s, where guys think it was still okay to button that button. Don't do it, guys. The only exception I will say for this is that if you're wearing a double-breasted suit, or you're wearing a suit that only has one button, or if you have, you know, a 3-button suit, it's okay to button the top 2 buttons, but that bottom one, leave it alone. When I see guys buttoning that bottom button, or even worse, they just button the bottom button and leave the top one open, again, this is something that is very irritating to me. When I see this, don't do it. Leave that button alone. If you guys made it this far to the end of the video, first of all, thank you so much for sticking around. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give this video a big thumbs up. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and help us build the HB community. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I'll see you next time.